The CrossFit Games are the world's premier test to find the fittest on Earth. To win the games, you need to be ready for anything. You need strength and endurance, power and agility. 5 months ago, the entire world was invited to prove their fitness in the Worldwide Open. 26,000 showed up from 59 countries. 1,500 qualified for the 17 semi-final regionals. Now, the 49 men and 47 women competing in the 2011 Reebok CrossFit Games have 3 days and 10 unknown events to claim the title Fittest on Earth and $250,000. Welcome to the 2011 Reebok CrossFit Games. The weekend started with 49 men and a blank slate. After 2 days, we were down to 24. Now it comes down to 12 men and the final workout. A 3-round chipper where each round is scored as a separate event. Who will be the fittest man on Earth? Welcome to the final day of the 2011 Reebok CrossFit Games. I'm Rory McKernan.
And I'm Miranda Oldroyd. We are down to the best of the best. Only 12 athletes remain. They have 3 more challenges before someone will be crowned fittest on Earth.
If you take a look at this leaderboard, it's a who's who of CrossFit competitors, and they all have a shot at the podium.
Rich Froning is in first with a solid 83-point lead, but it is not over yet. Each of the 3 rounds in this final workout count as a full scored event.
That's 300 total points at stake. Rich must perform well or the title will go to Josh Bridges or Ben Smith. The events of the CrossFit Games are varied and different every year. This year, we've seen a long slog at the Santa Monica Beach with swimming, runs, and calisthenics. There have been rope climbs and barbell clean and jerks, muscle-ups, deadlifts, sit-ups, 6 different isolated skills, the killer cage with biking and heavy squats, and finally, the dog sled with handstand push-ups, overhead squats, and double unders. Rich Froning and Josh Bridges are currently first and second overall. Between them, they have won 5 of the 7 events so far. Ben Smith and Blair Morrison have also been consistently toward the top and are 3rd and 4th overall. Now, it all comes down to the final workout. A chipper where athletes start at the rower and work their way across the stadium, one element at a time. These 8 drills have moderate loads and skill levels, which will test just how hard these athletes can motor through increasing fatigue. How deep can they dig to be the first to make it through the end? Let's take a look now at how this event breaks down. The final workout is known simply as the end. This is a 3-round workout with a rest period between each round. The rounds, though, are each scored separately and each worth the standard 100 points. All 3 rounds start with the same 8 drills. Rowing, 20 calories, 30 wall balls with a 20-pound ball, 20 toes to bar, 30 box jumps on a 24-inch box, 20 sumo deadlift high pulls with a 108-pound kettlebell, 30 burpees, 20 shoulder to overhead with a 135-pound barbell, and a 100-foot weighted sled pull. Round 1, which counts as scored event 8, is a 3-minute sprint as far as possible through these drills. Every rep counts and the most reps wins. After the 3 minutes are up, the men get a 1-minute rest. Round 2, which counts as scored event 9, is a 6-minute race as far as possible through these same drills starting over at the rower. Again, every rep counts and the most reps wins. After the 6 minutes are up, the men get a 2-minute rest. Round 3, which counts as scored event 10, is a timed race to finish the entire 8 drills. The winner is he who finishes in the shortest time. Let's check out some of the top contenders. In his 3rd year of CrossFit Games competition, Spencer Hendel for the first time finds himself within arm's reach of the podium. Entering the end in 5th place, Dan Bailey validates his 1st place finish in the Worldwide Open. Consistency has brought Blair Morrison within 1 place of the podium. He needs a standout performance here to break into the top 3. A dream that started at 16 years old could come to fruition as Ben Smith enters the final event in 3rd place. In his rookie debut of the CrossFit Games, Josh Bridges enters the last event in 2nd place. This is Rich Froning's race to lose. He entered last year's final in 1st place only to see his dreams dashed. Can he turn the tides and walk away with the title? Miranda, this is crazy. We're in the 2-minute break between rounds 2 and 3. The first round was a 3-minute sprint to see how far each athlete could get, where every rep counts.
Rich Froning was the first off the rower, followed closely by Spencer Hendel and Blair Morrison. Rich was also the first through the wall balls, but Blair was closing the gap.
They finished the toes to bar at exactly the same time. Then Blair was quicker through the box jumps, finishing 96 total reps by the buzzer compared to 94 for Rich.
Spencer Hendel finished in fourth with 89 reps, just 3 reps behind Dan Bailey's 92.
The second round was a 6-minute drive down the same drills, again to see how far everyone could go, counting every rep.
Spencer Hendel flew through the row, but then fell behind on the wall balls. Rich Froning, who was second off the rower this time, took the lead again during the wall balls.
Dan Bailey, who was 5th off the rower, was so fast through the wall ball that he moved into second. Josh Bridges passed Dan on the toes to bar, and then we had a race.
Rich stayed a couple reps ahead of Dan and Josh, who traded the lead several times. Blair Morrison was right on their heels.
With just seconds to go, the men were sprinting neck and neck through the burpees, but at the buzzer, Rich Froning won with a total of 143 reps, while Dan Bailey and Josh Bridges tied at 137.
And Blair Morrison was just 2 reps behind at 135.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. It is on. The final workout for the men of the 2011 Reebok CrossFit Games.
The athletes are back on the rower for one final round of this chipper, and right now it's just as mental as it is physical.
That's right, this is like a sickening version of Groundhog Day. The men have already attacked this workout once in 3 minutes, then once in 6 minutes, and now they are tasked with making it all the way through as far as they can. We have a short break now. Spencer Hendel is your current leader. When we return, the battle continues in the final workout of the 2011 Reebok CrossFit Games, the end.
I don't really have one particular strength, but I try to limit my weaknesses. Got stronger, which is good. Metcon's relatively the same. I've been rowing every day just to try to build some capacity, but just because I hate rowing with a passion. There'll be, I think, 50 guys in the games this year and 50 different training strategies. So, you know, I guess that's how we'll see who wins.
Rich Froning was your overall points leader coming into this event. However, it's the big man Spencer Hendel who will be off the 20-calorie row first and on now to 30 wall balls.
Impressive, really no pace change whatsoever for Spencer Hendel on the row between all 3 rounds.
Rich Froning, who won the previous version of this event, is now second off the rower.
Now Rich's pace on the rower, 22 seconds slower than he did in the first round.
Almost refreshing to see some signs of humanity in Rich. He is slow to pick up that wall ball and allows Ben Smith to pass him, but it is Spencer Hendel who maintains the lead. All of the athletes are now onto their 30 wall balls.
The balls these guys are throwing are 20 pounds each, and this movement also has an element of accuracy as they have to hit that metal target. These are bad enough when you're fresh. These athletes have done already a combined total of 60 reps from round 1 and 2. Now they're working through 30 more for a total of 90 wall balls.
Yet to be mentioned is the fact that it is sweltering hot on this competition floor. It's midday in the Los Angeles sunshine, and that is definitely adding to the fatigue of these athletes.
Now in rounds 1 and 2, most of the athletes went all the way through the 30 wall ball shots without having to stop. You can see many of them now having to put that ball down and take a break.
In CrossFit, we affectionately refer to workouts like this, where there's a mountain of work that you go through one time, as a chipper. You could think of that in one of 2 ways. One, that you're chipping away at each movement bit by bit as you go through the laundry list. Or 2, like you're a piece of wood going through a wood chipper, you come out on the other side as mulch.
And at 2 minutes and 20 seconds, all of the athletes would have been onto the toes to bar in rounds 1 and 2. Right now, Spencer Hendel, the only athlete onto his toes to bar.
Now, here's where Spencer's size is not going to play to his strengths as much as Ben Smith is on his tail. Spencer has 6 in the bag as Ben gets to the bar. Josh Bridges now the 3rd athlete on.
And Josh Bridges now has an opportunity to use his smaller size to his advantage. The row and the wall ball not working to his strengths. These toes to bar are going to give him an opportunity to take the lead.
Josh Bridges and Rich Froning move into 3rd and 4th. These athletes now feeling that wall that they're going to have to run up against, and it's a gut check from here on out.
And Spencer Hendel making his bigger size work for him. He's maintaining his lead through these toes to bar.
Hendel will be the first athlete on now to the 30 box jumps. He's followed closely behind by Josh Bridges and Ben Smith. Ben Smith, though, turning it up to get to the box. Within 1 rep of Spencer Hendel, he moves into second.
They now have 30 of these box jumps. They've got to jump off of both feet and land with both feet on the top, show complete control, and stand all the way up before they can go back down.
Hendel getting comfortable in his pace. He's going to need to keep it up if he's going to stay ahead of Smith. And Rich Froning now still struggling with the toes to bar.
At 3 minutes and 43 seconds, Rich would have been done with his box jumps at this point in the previous round.
Taking into account how much work these athletes have done to this point, Spencer Hendel now takes a break, and Smith is closing the gap on him rapidly.
And finally, Rich Froning making his way over to the box, looking completely smoked. He's going to take a break before he even gets started.
At this point in the competition, it is a mental battle. This is like the 13th round of boxing, triple overtime in a football game, or the last mile of a marathon. This is the final event of the 2011 Reebok CrossFit game.
And as Blair Morrison approaches, Ben Smith takes the lead from Spencer Hendel. He's got 2 reps to go. The battle between Ben Smith and Blair Morrison for a spot on the podium has got to be driving Ben at this point.
Ben Smith is the first athlete on now to the 20 sumo deadlift high pulls.
Those kettlebells are 108 pounds. The requirement here is that the bell needs to touch the ground at the bottom. The athlete needs to stand all the way up and pull the kettlebell above their collarbone.
Spencer Hendel arrives second, and now Josh Bridges arrives in third. Bridges immediately will get it revved up, and Ben Smith takes a break with 8 repetitions to go. Ben Smith needs to turn it back on. Spencer Hendel is quickly closing in on him, and Josh Bridges looks like he's got a new fire in his belly.
As they continue to work on these sumo deadlift high pulls, Rich Froning, Blair Morrison, and Dan Bailey all still on their 30 box jumps.
Ben Smith now takes another break with just 4 repetitions to go. Just 4 reps behind him, Josh Bridges continues to power on.
And Josh Bridges just 30 seconds off of the pace he was working in that 6-minute version, which is pretty impressive given all these guys have done.
Now these athletes can see the finish line, and Ben Smith will be the first man to move on to the next movement, the burpees.
Smaller athlete Josh Bridges is going to be strong on these burpees. Ben Smith needs to keep it going here, or he's going to lose his lead.
His second repetition was taken away. He is just 2 reps ahead of Bridges, and Spencer Hendel now onto the burpees as well. As we head now to a short break, Ben Smith, Josh Bridges, and Spencer Hendel are separated by just 4 repetitions. There's a lot at stake. The title fittest on earth at $250,000.
I have 2 younger brothers, and you know, they always want to beat me and everything, and I always want to beat them. My dad helps coach me. My brothers train with me, and they push me in workouts. They're actually really good. They really support me, and I'm very thankful to have them. I've always wanted to be the best in everything that I do, all my sports, and CrossFit is no exception to that.
When I'm out there, I normally can't hear fans. When I used to be in wrestling, I couldn't hear the crowd. This crowd is hard not to be able to hear. Well, they do the same thing in the gym. I'll be in there working out, and all of a sudden people will be cheering me on. I won't even, they're just unreal.
You guys couldn't put more adrenaline in my body in my life. You guys were awesome.
Josh's gym, CrossFit Invictus, has the largest cheering section in attendance and the type of community that's typical at CrossFit affiliates.
Josh Bridges now is your overall leader. He overtakes Ben Smith on rep number 28 of the burpees.
And Josh Bridges will want to get to that bar as quickly as possible, as it is a strength for Ben Smith.
Bridges does move on. Ben Smith has 1 more rep now. He's on his heels. No, that final rep is taken away, and Ben Smith has to go back for 1 more. Bridges gets to the barbell first, and he'll go to work immediately.
They now have 20 reps of shoulder to overhead with the 135-pound barbell. They need to show that it's completely locked out overhead before they drop it back down.
Josh Bridges gets 6 in the bag before Ben Smith picks up that barbell, and now Ben repping him out, and he will get to 5, so Josh Bridges remains 1 rep ahead.
These athletes are visibly exhausted at this point. This is the final event of 10, and although they've only been going for over 8 minutes on this particular event, with the 3-minute and the 6-minute version of this exact same workout, they have been moving in the heat for over 20 minutes.
Ben Smith squeaks out another 5 to get to 10 repetitions before dropping the barbell. In the 6-minute version of this workout, Rich Froning got to 23 burpees. He is now almost at 9 minutes, and he still has 5 to go. Smith and Josh Bridges continue to battle it out, but Josh Bridges is closing out his push presses in 2 more reps. And Josh Bridges, the Navyman from San Diego, will be the first athlete to finish the push presses and head back to the sled pull and the race to the finish. Bridges will now head back to where this all began by the rowers. There he will retrieve a rope and take it to the far side of the stadium. On the other end of that rope is a sled weighted with 165 pounds. He has to pull it hand over hand to the finish line for time to stop.
Ben Smith now on the way to grab his rope. Josh Bridges has a 15-second lead.
Bridges now trotting back to the end of his lane where he will begin the sled pull. This is by no means over. This is a very difficult task. It's the end of a very long event and an even longer weekend.
And once again, a task that has never been tested in the CrossFit Games before, and many of these athletes have never done this before.
Ben Smith just marching back as Josh Bridges is showing signs of trouble. All he's really doing here is pulling the slack out of the rope every single time. It's literally putting him on his back, and he has to start over at every pull, whereas Ben Smith is keeping tension on the rope using that hand-over-hand method and keeping the momentum going.
Spencer Hendel now on the way to his sled, 58 seconds behind Josh Bridges.
Rich Froning now finishing his last push press, and he will be onto the sled pull as well. This event is far from over. These two big men, Hendel and Froning, could make up lots of ground on this strength-heavy portion, the sled pull. Ben Smith is now your leader. He has moved beyond Josh Bridges, and he continues to march.
We have seen a fire lit in Ben Smith in this final event. In the 3-minute version, he was last in the heat. In the 6-minute version, he was second to last. Now he is the leader.
He has figured this out. He's found his mojo, and now his sled looks like it's moving on ice.
The crowd is absolutely going crazy. Ben Smith's got his head down and refuses to stop that pull.
As we go to a short break, Josh Bridges and Ben Smith are charging towards the finish line with Rich Froning hot on their heels. Stay tuned to find out who will be crowned the fittest on earth. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, Ben Smith, the 21-year-old who trains in his home gym, is on track to take first in the end.
And Ben Smith, with just a few yards left to go, will solidify his best finish in 3 years of CrossFit Games competition, as well as win this heat.
And one final pull will seal the deal for Ben Smith, 11 minutes and 24 seconds. Ben Smith now showing the most emotion we've seen out of him all weekend. Meanwhile, Bridges continues to battle with his sled, and he's being closed in by third place Spencer Hendel. Now we have a developing race for second place.
Spencer Hendel on the bottom of your screen started the sled pull 58 seconds after Josh Bridges and is now closing that gap against Josh Bridges.
This is the kind of dramatic finish that CrossFit fans have come to expect. They are on their feet, and you can barely hear yourself on the stadium floor.
Josh Bridges now a few pulls ahead of Spencer Hendel, and he just has a few feet left to finish this event.
This result will mean that Josh Bridges cannot finish outside of the top 2. Rich Froning still has to finish to claim that top spot.
Josh Bridges with a time of 12:09 and second in this heat.
Bridges' home gym, CrossFit Invictus, is going crazy as Bridges goes down for some well-deserved rest. He gets a phenomenal finish in his rookie debut.
And Rich Froning, after 10 events and 3 days, just needs to finish this final sled pull to be the official winner of the 2011 Reebok CrossFit Games. But it is going to take everything he has left.
Ben Smith, who won this heat, comes over to congratulate second place Josh Bridges. The camaraderie between these athletes is amazing. We're now seeing some echoes of last year's CrossFit Games final when Rich was also battling with a rope. That ended in a nightmare, and he lost his first place to Graham Holmberg. This year, Rich is pulling towards him CrossFit Games victory.
And although Rich is in 4th place in this heat right now, he is a man who has left absolutely nothing on the table over the course of this competition. He has had 3 second-place finishes, 3 first-place finishes, one of those first-place finishes being in the event right before this one, the 6-minute version of this same exact workout.
Rich Froning, the strength and conditioning coach from Cookeville, Tennessee, is laying it all on the line here. His cheering section from Cookeville over his shoulder is willing him along. Rich is coming up against the wall of pure exhaustion. At this point, technique has gone out the window. It's whatever you can do to get the work done. But what you have to notice is that with every pull, Rich is getting between 5 and 10 feet. Pretty amazing, actually, for this point in the workout.
And as that sled gets closer, Rich can see the end in sight. Now he has just a few pulls to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are watching is Rich Froning pulling to himself the title fittest man on earth and $250,000. One more pull will seal the deal, and Rich Froning is the champion of the 2011 Reebok CrossFit Games.
He does it in a time of 14 minutes and 10 seconds, and incredibly, he is still on his feet and will go over and celebrate with his friends, his family, and his coaches.
After a second-place finish in the 2010 CrossFit Games, the amazing Rich Froning returns and claims the title fittest on earth. Rich, you did it. How does it feel, brother?
Surreal, man. It's no words to describe it. I thank God. Thank all those people over there in the stands. Everybody else in the stands is amazing. Dreamed of this since last year after found out Graham won, and I can't even begin to describe.
Ben Smith's victory in the final heat secures his 3rd spot position. Josh Bridges is 2nd, and an indisputable performance by Rich Froning Jr. earns him the title fittest on earth. Matt O'Toole from Reebok is here to present the check to Rich.
I've had the opportunity to attend a lot of world-class sporting events in my life, and I've never seen anything like this. The community, the courage, and most of all, it makes me believe, and more convicted than ever, that CrossFit is the sport of the 21st century. And so I would like to reward Rich's efforts with a check for $250,000.
You could not have a better representative of CrossFit as your champion. I tell you what, I'm motivated to go train right now.
If you are also inspired to get into the best shape of your life, there are thousands of CrossFit gyms around the world. Find one near you.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Rory McKernan along with Miranda Oldroyd, and we'll see you in 2012.